The appendix of Capitalism and Society, putting integrity and finance is purely positive phenomenon. With respect to word force, some people will have a problem that one's word as to the existence of something or some state of the world includes being accountable that the other would find valid for themselves. The evidence that one had for asserting something to be the case. Of course, there are times when one says that this or that is so or not so, but one would not be willing to be held to account for having evidence that the other would find valid. In such cases, one's word would include acknowledging that and perhaps saying what level of evidence one does have. For example, when one assumes that something is the case. Word five, the explicit content of what you stand for is not a matter of your integrity. However big or small what you stand for, if you deal with what you stand for with full integrity, you have the maximum opportunity for living up to that stand. Integrity is determined by simply living up to, living consistent with what you said you stand for, and when you will not have, or when you will not or have not, you honor your word by saying that you will not or have not, and by when you will or that you never will, revoking your word. And you clean up the mess you're not having lived up to what you said you stand for with those who were continuing on you. However, you should be aware that to a large extent, the magnitude of what you stand for determines the size of your opportunities set for performance in the world with others and with yourself. Performance defined in whatever way you wish to define it. Word six, the moral, ethical, and legal standard of the society, group, and governmental entities in which one enjoys membership are a part of one's word. Word six recontextualizes the moral, ethical, and legal standards of the society, group, or governmental entities in which one enjoys membership from something inflicted on me, someone else's will, or in the language of this new model, someone else's word to my word, thus leaving me with the power to honor my word, either by keeping it or saying I will not and accept the consequences as my word. I can enter with power rather than force the discussion about just what those standards should be. Power, like empowerment, like freedom, is the negation of force. A detailed discussion of issues associated with defining one's word is available on the SSRN at the following. What is this SSRN that holds all these papers? Um, Earhart and Jensen, Michael Sita, Normative Theory, Virtues, Chapter 1 through 3, December 7, 2011, Harvard Business School, NOM Unit, Working Paper 12007, Barbados Group, Working Paper number 1106, available at SSRN. Integrity, a positive model, incorporates normative phenomena, morality, ethics, and legality. Integrity, positive model for the same thing, abridged. Okay, and these are all references. Just go slow enough. Well, let me read these. Measuring the shape of fraud. Interesting. What is this? New York Magazine? Protege Partners. Do hedge funds manage their reported returns? Um, the Review of Financial Studies. Strategic intellectual property underpricing, informative momentum, and lockup expiration selling in the Journal of Financial Economics. Harmed investor? Just wait. Brokerage firms pay 255 million, but getting it takes time in the Wall Street Journal. Anonymous Liber, Anonymous Insider, and Liber Scandal. Teaching smart people how to learn. Harvard Business Review. HSBC to pay record U.S. penalty. UK-based bank expected to admit money laundering lapses as part of 1.9 billion in agreement. Wall Street Journal. The rewards to meeting or beating earnings expectations in the SSRN. Blankfin. Our response to today's, I think it says, or Toda's, New Times op-ed in Goldman Sachs's response to Greg Smith's op-ed, Bloomberg Business Week. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Perception, Observational Incommensurability, Measurability, and World Change. Plato. Ex-trader is convicted in rate rigging case, New York Times. HSBC search, New York Times. The dark role of investment banks in the market and corporate control in the Luthmann meetings paper. Volkswagen sales fall in October amid emissions scandal. I remember that in Wall Street Journal. Deciphering the liquidity and credit crunch of 2007 to 8, Journal of Economic Perspective. And knock wood, look, all these companies and these people held up in this stuff or involved in this stuff have, atoned for their sins or whatever, made up their dues bank owes to society. Um, the relation between corporate financing activities, analyst forecasts, and stock returns, Journal of Accounting and Economics, earnings management to avoid earnings decreases and losses, Journal of Accounting and Economics, identifying and attracting the right investors, evidence on behavioral of institutional investors, Journal of Applied Corporate Finance. Fund Roundup, a review of the firms implicated so far in trading scandal, Market Watch, Dow Jones. Analyst forecast accuracy, do ability, resources, and portfolio complexity matter? Journal of Accounting and Economics. Which type of analysts firms make more optimistic forecasts? Do insiders manipulate earnings when they sell their shares in an initial public offering? Journal of Accounting Research. Goldman Sachs settles SEC 550 million. New York Times, two former UBS traders exposed in rate rigging case. New York Times. The relation between analysts' forecast of long-term earnings growth and stock price performance, SSRN, following equity offerings. Goldman Sachs 550 million. New York Times, earnings management exceed thresholds. Journal of Business. This is pages and pages worth. Using shareholder letters to measure CEO integrity. SSRN, Financial Times, my thwarted attempt to tell Liber shenanigans. Thwarted attempt to whistleblow. Wow, in 2012. Different time, man. How to dispel your illusions, reveal of thinking fast and slow. Oh, I've seen this book, New York Review of Books. JP Morgan sued on mortgage bonds, Wall Street Journal, the positive theory of the normative virtues, Harvard Business School, creating leaders, an ontological phenomenological model, handbook for teaching leadership and knowing and doing and being by Scott Snook. Wow. Harvard Business School as well. Let's see. New paradigm, group organizational performance, Harvard Business School. Normative behavior. Let's repeat. Hidden and heretofore inaccessible power of integrity, a new model. RBS fine 612 million for regulators for manipulating LIBOR rates in Bloomberg. Oh, the Paul Fireman story here, commencement address from Suffolk University Sawyer Business School. Paul Fireman was CEO of Reebok, or was. Integrity, finance theory and practice, a positive approach, speech given to the Swiss banking. And who's Peter Frost? Forst Moser. Just Say No to Wall Street, Journal of Applied Corporate Finance, SSRN. Yes, 50 Secrets to Science of Persuasion. We have a whole another video going over that, going over really each of these. Economic implications of the corporate financial reporting, SSRN. Not so fabulous Fab, ex-Goldman Sachs trader Fabrice Torre found liable for fraud, Time Magazine, Journal of Political Economy. It's an interesting journal. Cardinal Utility in Welfare Economics and in Theory of Risk Taking. Cardinal Welfare, Individualistic Ethics, and Interpersonal Comparison of Utility in the Journal of Political. The Information Content of Losses, Journal of Accounting and Economics, Administrative Science Quarterly, Power and Conflicts of Interest in Professional Firms, Evidence of from Investment Banking, the Effect of Bonus Schemes on Accounting Decisions, Information Asymmetry, Corporate Disclosure, and Capital Markets Review of Empirical and Disclosure Literature from Rochester Conference in April 2000. Review of earnings and management literature and implications for standard setting and accounting horizons. Two Brains Running. Review of Thinking Fast and Slow. That's got to be a book on the list here. Analyzing the Analysts. Who's analyzing the analysts? Career concerns and biased earnings forecast, a Journal of Finance. Determinants and of managerial earnings guidance prior to regulation, fair disclosure, and bias analysts' earnings forecasts. Beyond financial reporting, an integrated approach to disclosure. Journal of Applied Corporate Finance. Progressive Insurance Disclosure Strategy. I'm not going to repeat anything of sources wise. I'm just going to do the titles. Integrity in Learning, Enhancing Workability and Student Performance Outcomes. Experience in Forecasting, Performance and Security Analysts, Journal of Accounting and Economics. Paying people to lie, the truth about the budgeting process. Corporate budgeting is broken. Let's fix it. Agency cost of overvalued equity. See, this stuff is being taught since the mid 2000s. So, knock wood, the new generation has the at least foundations, given they went to university or college and took these classes. Um, I wonder if what is the license Series 7 that you need to do these things? That this integrity studies is implanted in that. So even in the licensing process, you are also held to, hey, this is the standard. The agency cost of overvalued equity and current state of corporate finance in the European financial management. A value-free approach to values, remuneration, where we've been, how we got to here, what are the problems and how to fix them. Whoa, bro. Bernard Madoff in the Jewish Virtual Library. Thinking Fast and Slow. Prospect Theory and Analysis of Decision Under Risk. Econometrica. What SAC capitals? Oh, there you go, SAC. Stephen Cohen isn't in jail, or why? Um, Wells Fargo to pay 185 mil in settlement for outrageous sales culture. Agency theory of overvalued equity as an explanation of the recruitment anomaly. The structure of scientific revolutions. Chicago Press. Strong steps down from board but stays at the head of the firm. Second strong executive snagged in a probe. Strong funds regulators to settle case. An agreement would be clear the way for possible sale to Wells Fargo, considerable challenges ahead. The trouble with Wall Street. That's Michael Lewis. Analyst coverage of initial public offerings, Stanford University, underwriting relationships, analyst earnings, forecasts and investment recommendations, Journal of Accounting and Economics, analyst impartiality and investment banking relationships, National Taiwan University, Stanford University, University of Waterloo, rewriting history, AEA, Chicago meetings paper. Martoma sentenced to 9 years in insider trading, Wall Street Journal. Two convicted for LIBOR rigging. Management's incentives to avoid negative earnings surprises. Bank of America probed by New York over mortgage securities, self-selection, and analyst coverage. Conflicts of interest and credibility, underwriter, analyst recommendations, review, and accounting studies. Toshiba must adjust operating profit down by 1.2 billion. Executive compensation, where we are and how we got there. Chapter 4 on George Constantinides, Handbook of the Economics of Finance, CEO bonus plan, how to fix them, earnings momentum and earnings management, New Oxford American Dictionary, forecast accuracy of individual analysts in 9 industries. HSBC to pay 1.9 billion to settle probe and CNN money. Phenomenology online. Two hedge fund managers misreport returns, evidence from pooled distribution. Barclays settles regulators' claims over manipulation of key rates. Analysts following of initial public offerings. Earnings management and performance of seasonal equity offerings. A theory of justice, justice as fairness, a restatement, Cambridge, Belknap Press. The walk down to beatable analyst forecasts, the role of equity issuance and insider trading incentives, contemporary accounting research. UBS and LIBOR, horribly rotten, comically stupid. Business and management or economist. Substance, Stanford Encyclopedia. Former Goldman Sachs divided on controversial quitter. Greg Smith quit Goldman after unrealistic pitch for $1 million. Bloomberg. UBS paid guilty plea 1.5 billion over rate rigging. Speech Acts, an essay in the philosophy of language. Cambridge University Press, earnings surprises, growth expectations, and stock returns, or don't let an earnings torpedo sink your portfolio. Review of his accounting studies. Why I am leaving Goldman Sachs. Why I left Goldman Sachs, a Wall Street story. The two traders found guilty of rigging LIBOR rate. Moving the market, Bear Stearns to pay $250 million fine, net rises 36%. Making financial goals and reporting policies to serve corporate strategy, the case for of Progressive Insurance, an interview with Tom King, VP, Treasurer, Progressive Insurance, Journal of Applied Corporate Finance. A tell-all on Goldman has little worth telling. Earnings management and underperformance of seasoned equity offerings. Nudge improving decisions about health and wealth and happiness. New Haven and London, Yale University Press. Subpoena. Seven banks hit with LIBOR subpoenas courtesy of New York Attorney General Schneiderman. Forbes. Goldman Sachs to pay 550 mil to settle SEC charges related to subprime mortgage. CDO. on the SEC. Was Tom Hayes in charge of $350 trillion conspiracy or just taking the fall for one? The Fix. How bankers lied, cheated, and colluded to rig the world's most important number. John Wiley and Sons. Like Accent Software International. Webster's New World Dictionary and Thesaurus. Webster's Third International. Is this it? This is it. All right. Hope you're the best day ever. Peace, love. Bye bye. Comment below what you want to see more of.